I want to talk a little bit about Bernie Sanders, and I don't know if we had a chance, I don't think on this show, to play the best ad of the cycle so far, which was done in a grassroots fashion for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, again, I pointed this out yesterday. When he talks about slowing his schedule down a little bit, that would mean he's going at about the same pace as Kamala Harris or Beto. He is doing 4 or 5 rallies a day. He has been a bigger leader look, no one has achieved more than Bernie Sanders in the last several years. He's remade American politics to the left. He has done more to put Yemen. The Yemen war, the Yemen genocide, the U.S. participates in every day with the Saudis would have stopped if it was not for a Trump veto. That's his work. Amazon has raised their workers' wages. That's his work. He's been in solidarity, everything from the Walmart board to assembling a campaign of over 1 million volunteers, the largest grassroots fundraising effort in history, and 4 or 5 rallies a day. So if he says he's going to do 2 rallies a day, that does not mean that he is not a main presidential contender and not, of course, the obvious choice if you're on the actual left and you have some seriousness about labor power, about a Green New Deal. If you care a whit about foreign policy, you will be supporting this guy. And, and he came out today and he said, and I'll quote now from NBC News, Senator Bernie Sanders on Wednesday tamped down speculation that he would slow his presidential campaign after he suffered a heart attack last week, saying he plans to compete as vigorously as ever for the 2020 nomination. The Vermont Independent told NBC in an exclusive interview airing Wednesday night on Nightly News and on Thursday today that his health care has only strengthened his resolve. I misspoke the other day. I said a word I should not have said, and the media drives me a little bit nuts to make a big deal about it, Sanders said in an interview along with his wife, Jane. We're going to get back in the groove of a very vigorous campaign. I love doing the rallies, and I love doing town meetings. I want to start off slower and build up and build up and build up. This also, his daughter-in-law has died in the last couple of days. She's only 46 years old of cancer. The media coverage of him during this period has been absolutely ghoulish and disgusting. If you look at Cindy Ember's just atrocious reporting in the New York Times, it's a great example. And of course, it makes sense. She's class enemy. She's a rich kid. That's it. There's no mystery here. And this is why we can pretend that there's an equal fear with Warren and all of that. And I'm not saying that there might. Look, Warren would certainly be an inconvenience. But this is a fundamental structural threat and through a democratic means. And that's not an opportunity to fuck around with if you're serious. And I think what also gets my passion about this is between the equivocating and the lies and some of the anti-Semitism and just the general weirdness and grotesqueness around Sanders relative to what they are actually trying to do and what they have put on the table, from medical debt cancellation, Medicare for all, Green New Deal, pulling troops out of the Middle East, peace, some actual steps for recognizing Palestinian humanity, full student debt cancellation. The list just goes on and on and on. If you had any moral seriousness on the foreign policy alone, which they have the most power out of the gate, the decision would already be made. But I think it's also this dynamic that was captured in this guy. What's his name? Matt
Orfalea?
Just the disjuncture. Look, you can choose not to vote for Bernie Sanders. You're not obligated to like anybody, but really, this is the most decent person in decades of U.S. politics. And it's not, I disagree because I don't want to change things so much, or I have more of a belief in markets or whatever. It's a pathological and grotesque hatred for him, which is a representation of hatred for America's working class as a whole.
Yeah, and if you send one bit of, frankly, campaign propaganda to somebody you're trying to sway to the Bernie side, I think it should be this video.
Watch this and then get on the phone bank.
Bernie is back, getting into the presidential race.
Democrats like somebody new, and that is not going to be Bernie Sanders this time.
It's really hard to imagine who the Bernie Sanders voter is at this point.
Bernie Sanders, fall back. Please get away from us.
Hey, Senator, great to see you.
Thank you for doing this.
He has a kind of gruff, curmudgeon-y side that is, of course, well known. He doesn't actually smile that much.
It's almost like Bernie can't tell the difference between kids and adults.
All right, I think you're dumb. I think you're dumb if you don't sit down and learn how to read and write. No, you were not born stupid. Come here. The only way I think you're dumb, I think when you think you're dumb, because you're not.
He also, I think you're disheveled, you're unlikable, and you're pushy, and I don't think you should be leading anybody.
Pause it. I have no idea who that person is. I mean, my guess would be is she's some trust fund kid who's like, doing like horrifyingly bad open mics. And the real question is like, why is she on television? Who the hell is she? And God, just what a just sort of disgusting, despicable display there.
Bad.
Likable and you're pushy, and I don't think you should be leading anybody.
How old is too old?
I think the issue is, do you seem like you're in the contemporary world? He's a socialist from the 1950s yelling at people in the same screechy voice, without smiling, without any kind of personal connection. He looked like the angry man in the center of the stage saying, "Get off my lawn." And I don't think that's a good look for the Democratic Party.
Watch it. Make calls, knock on doors. This is an unparalleled opportunity. Stop messing around. Let's do it, folks.